me. No, I haven't shown my face in probably 4 months. Probably. Beard's gone. You may notice. Wife is happy. So I'm doing a lot better now than what I was since May 5th. Pretty private person, but some people know what I've been dealing with. At least they know some of what I've been dealing with. But I'm doing a lot better. Just the residual is left over, like the insomnia, little bit of anxiety attacks from hearing, every now and then. But I'm doing a lot better than what I was over between May 5th to maybe April 5th. But anyway, I want to share something with you guys. I gotta clean this table. Been thinking, and I haven't really gathered my thoughts, so I'm just gonna wing this like I've always done. I've been considering Israel and the church. I've been getting a lot of pieces that I've been putting together in my conversations, in my discussion with Rabbi Asher Meezer. I've been also on Sherry Love's Google Hangout, and I've said some things, but even as they come out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, that's another piece of the puzzle, that's another piece of the puzzle, that's another piece of the puzzle. So I'm going to share with you guys basically what's come to my attention. Originally, I was on Sherry Love's show, and I was talking about how God has, from Adam to us has been 6,000 years. Really I was talking about the Jews, the real Jews. They were talking about the wannabe Jews, the Hebrew Israelites. But I was saying, because Jews have deluded themselves. It's funny how all these cults and these religions and these people, they make up lies and then they believe in their own lies. They literally convince themselves of their lies. But Jews believe that they are the light unto the Gentiles. They are the salvation to the Gentiles. They are the example. But when we look at reality, when we look at history, that is not true and has never been true. For the first 2,000 years, Israel didn't even exist. Okay, they didn't even exist. Moses didn't come around until about 2,500 years after Adam. So for the first 2,000 years, they didn't even exist. And I said this to Rabbi Asher, and he had no response. For the second 2,000 years, we just read the scriptures, especially the book of Ezekiel. All we see, even from the very beginning, when God threatened to wipe out all of Israel with Moses. He told Moses, come away from them. I'm going to kill every single one of them, and I'll start again with you. From the very beginning, all the way through, over and over and over, God is threatening to wipe Israel from the face of the earth. Over and over and over, he's calling them stiff-necked, rebellious, a wicked people, over and over and over. So for 2,000 years, how were they a light to the Gentiles? I mean, that's all we see. And for the next 2,000 years, that's all we see. But then for the last 2,000 years, they've been scattered. So for the first 2,000 years, they didn't exist. For the next 2,000 years, it's just, if they were an example to us, is an example of what not to do. And then the next 2,000 years, the third 2,000 years, which is the last 2,000 years, they've been scattered. So when have they ever been a light to the Gentiles? But it's also even Stephen. 2,000 years for the old covenant. It's been 2,000 years for the new covenant. 2 and 2. But that's not really what I'm even focusing on. What I'm also focusing on is how God stamps his seal of authority initially with power and miracles. Because if you think about it, at Israel's beginning, coming out of Egypt, God gave a lot of miracles. He did a lot of wonders. He acted a lot of powers. That was just to prove that he was with the nation of Israel. It's just to show the Egyptians and everyone else who can see the journey of the Israelites, yes, they must have the one true living God, because these powers and these wonders and these miracles can only come from a divine being. So those miracles and things are sort of like his stamp, his seal of approval, his proof that he's with them. But hang on, consider the church. The church went through the same thing. At the beginning, you see a whole bunch of miracles and wonders, not just from Jesus, but also from his followers. And a lot of people think just because we read about miracles, we're supposed to still have all these mighty miracles today. But that's not what happened with Israel. Sure, miracles still happen century over century and century, just like in the church. Miracles still happen, but the frequency of those miracles is not the same, even in the scriptures. Peter would pick somebody up, say, arise, and the person would walk. Or Peter's shadow would go over someone and they'll be healed. Or Paul would be healing someone. But even in the scriptures, decades later, you see Paul saying, pray for healing. And if it doesn't happen, go before the elders, confess your sins, etc., etc. So they went from laying hands to pray for healing. So the miracles actually began to decrease and decrease and decrease. My point is, for this whole video, is that initially God gives his seal of approval through the miracles and the wonders. He did it with Israel in the old. He did it with the church in the new. It's the same thing. It's actually tit for tat. It's the same thing. When you look at both Israel and the church, you see a lot of commonalities. I'm not going to go into all those details, including how the people are blinded by their traditions and they believe things because they were born and they were told something and they believe it's right and it's not right. The church is doing the same thing that Israel did, the good and the bad. But I'm not going to get into that. All I wanted to say really with this video is God's seal of approval with Israel at the beginning of their 2,000 years and with the church, the beginning of our 2,000 years, has been his miracles and his wonders and his works through his people. I'll end with this. Something my father told me a long time ago. Do not trust people just because they have miracles. That's not the sign. The sign is obviously their fruits. And the reason he told me that, and the reason I'll tell you all the same thing, is because when the Antichrist comes, he will come working lying wonders. He will work strong miracles, but he'll be a false Messiah. He's going to deceive people because of miracles. So my point is, just because someone works miracles doesn't mean you're supposed to run after them. It's fine and dandy. But all I'm saying is that through God, his seal of approval on his people initially was with miracles.